That is a giant mess. That's what happens when you're working way too much. Camera bags and gear everywhere. All right, guys, I don't have time to clean that up. I've got Peter Freeze coming over from Peter Freeze Cooking Channel. He wanted to do a collab, so I invited him over. We're gonna do some cooking. I'm not really a big cook, nor have I really made any kind of cooking videos. So this is gonna be a first for me, where it's not just a one kind of camera setup. I'm not sure what to expect. We're gonna give it a go. We'll see what comes out on the other end. So let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, guys? JD here. I've got my good friend Peter from Peter Freeze Cooking Channel. He knows that I am an absolutely terrible cook, that my wife is on holidays, so he decided to come over and help me make some fish and chips. And the funny thing is that I actually used to work in a fish and chip shop for years and years and years. So what we're gonna do, because I actually have an idea how to make fish and chips, is Peter is going to make the gluten-free fish and chips with his own home brew. And I am going to make what I used to make myself. And then we're gonna chow down on some good old fish and chips. All right, so what you're gonna need, of course, first off is some good beer. I'm going to use basically Big Rock traditional ale. Pete has got his own home brew, which is, what exactly is that, Pete?
We're going to take a double IPA. It's 14.5% alcohol.
Wow, you can't get drunk on his fish and chips. It may be gluten-free, but you're gonna get loaded on it. Of course, you're gonna need some all-purpose flour. So you need flour there. And of course, Pete has the gluten-free option. As well, you're gonna need just some good old water for your mix. In my case, I'm gonna give it a little boost. I am gonna use a little bit of yeast. You can also skip this part. You can just utilize the beer and it will help a little bit. Of course, you're gonna need salt and pepper as well, cooking oil, some good steel bowls, a good old whisk, and of course, we've got some codfish that we've got sitting on ice that we're gonna utilize. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna get to the two different batches of basically batter. We're gonna mix those up and then we're gonna get right back to you. Okay, let's get things straight, right? If anybody has watched anything that I've cooked in the past, you know that I measure absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour a shitload of flour. How much, I don't know, but enough to sort of get to the point where we wanna be. So we're gonna add the flour first, and then basically from there, I'm gonna create like a little kind of weird ass nest in there, because that is where the beer is gonna go. I always do recommend, if you are gonna open a beer, that you use a Lucha Libre beer opener. Those are high quality. They always open the beer, they put it in a headlock, pop it off, so make sure, essential to this process.
Does it work for my bottle?
It will not work for your bottle.
Oh shit.
Yours is a non-wrestling federation approved container. Yeah, moonshine approved. So this good old traditional ale, Big Rock Calgary Brewery, good stuff, always love it. It is a nice dark kind of ale, and I'm just going to sort of pour that in the middle.
If you want to know what this smells like, my home brew, pretty much a strong pumpkin smell, lots of hops, strong alcohol content.
And you can tell I worked at a fish and chip shop because I'm probably making enough batter for like tons and tons of fish versus all that in there. Add the water.
With mine, I pretty much just added the flour and the beer It's actually pretty good. It's not too lumpy, and it's pretty smooth.
Technically, you're gonna want it nice and kind of, as you see I've got here going. I mean, I've added a fair bit of water. It's a good smell of beer. We use that whole beer because I want like a nice beer batter. But you want it so basically when you dip your fish, that it's gonna be nice and fluid, covers it up, and then we're just gonna drop it straight in the oil.
Yeah.
So you probably wanna add a little bit of water to that mix. You kind of want it like a pancakey batter.
Oh,
Look at this, guys. I'm teaching the cooking guy how to cook.
alright. This is my first time doing it, so I don't know jack all.
So we've got the active yeast here. I'm just gonna pop that open.
In the moonshine wheel, that's pretty much what we use to make moonshine with.
I'm just gonna pour a bit of yeast in there. I don't know if you want some for yours, Pete. I don't know if that makes it gluten free or not.
Oh yeah, it's still
So there you go, nice and creamy batter. So we're gonna let that sit for about, I'd say about 15-20 minutes. And then it's time to get dipping. All right, so we got our cod fillets here. As you can see, they are actually full-sized fillets, much to your chagrin, and probably what you think is a normal sized cod is actually quite a bit bigger. So what we're gonna have to do, obviously you're not gonna serve these as one big giant piece of fish and chips. So we're gonna cut them. A lot of times you're just gonna kind of take an angle and sort of get different cuts out of it. There's gonna be a couple scraggly pieces, which is fine. There's gonna be a couple thick flanks. If you do have a fish knife, sometimes you can, if it's really, really thick, you can slice it out and then basically, you know, make yourself a duel out of that flank. But we're just gonna cut that up now.
How thick do you like it? Double C's or?
See, for that one there, I would love to cut that piece in half, just because that is like a good inch piece of fish, but I don't have a good fish knife, so we're just gonna kind of cut these pieces here and essentially get, you know, some nice pieces here. And make a couple smaller ones here. So same sort of thing here. We're gonna make a nice cut. I might actually try and slice these. I don't have a fish knife here, so it's going to be kind of interesting. I mean, these are good size little flanks. This guy's a little too much. So as we're gonna move this over, and I'm just gonna butterfly cut this. So make sure to tuck your fingers in, go underneath. Again, this is where a fish knife is nice because it is nice and thin. We've just sort of butterflied that. Not too bad, given. So that is now a nice cut. This guy is really super thick as well. As you can see, he's a good inch thick. So again, much better if you take a fish knife, but you know, again, just be careful when you're butterflying them. You just basically thinning them out. All right, so we're just gonna take the fish, we're gonna straight up dunk it in there. We're gonna get a nice covering of batter, and then that is going straight in the fryer. So there you have it. We've got fish and chips, and then we've got the gluten-free version. Me, I'm a malt vinegar guy. It's the only way to do it. If I had a newspaper, I would throw it in that. A good dosing of malt vinegar. So cheers. Nice, fluffy. Good malt, good salt. Cheers. Till next time, see you guys.